up? And welcome back to Opposites Attract podcast. This is Sonja Ramirez, and I am with
Miguel Ramirez. What's up, babe?
What's up? It's Friday. Yeah, so we decided to record on a Friday. And so we're really excited about some new upcoming things. We have a schedule in place to have some guests come and speak. But before we get into any of that, we got to do our plugs. So you're on.
So as always, this podcast is brought to you by Trust Inc. Trust Inc. is
a mobile notary agency. We are nationwide. We work a lot with title companies, lawyers, and individuals as well. Again, it doesn't matter what state you live in, we got your back. We also are independent associates with Legal Shield. And with Legal Shield, what we do is we bring you access to attorneys at the palm of your hand.
Yep. So also, if you want to share the podcast, you can go to oppositesattractpod.com. And there you'll find all the links to share it. You can follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. And you can go there. You can also watch the YouTube channel. And if you want to follow us on any of the social media, it's at Opposite Pod.
Yes. So this morning, okay, so it's been like absolutely amazing. Business is taking off. Everything's good. The kids are back in school. And I've been surprised with how our kids are just on top of their game. Like they come home, they do their homework and all their other good, they're on a schedule and they're finally getting it. So I feel like an accomplished mom. How do you feel about that? Doesn't it feel good?
It's been pretty good.
Because
like when I get home from work, you guys have been doing homework, and even when you were working, Audrey just kind of started doing her work. Joey's been doing his work. Like they've been on top of it.
But trust us.
It is the beginning. This is like week 2.
I know, but think about it.
But it's good.
Oh my goodness.
Like
these
starts.
Kids was nonstop. Like it was a fight. And if you have kids, it is so stressful, especially when you're having to cook dinner and there's a lot going on in the house. And so they haven't been really independent. And I've noticed a big change in them. Like they'll start doing their homework. Yes, I have to ask them here and there. But for the most part, like Audrey's like, I'm doing my homework. I'm done. I've checked it. So it's just felt really good because as a parent, I was feeling a bit like a failure a little, because I didn't see the results. But I see that they're doing their thing. Anyways, so this morning, busy morning. Had to get the kids ready. I had an early appointment with Trust Inc. And everything was going well until the dog decided to escape.
Yeah.
And let's talk about this dog. She is the sweetest dog ever. Her name is Jane. Okay.
I don't know about the sweetest dog ever. She will bite your ass. And not playing either.
No.
She will bite you.
She's very stubborn. She's stubborn, but she's loving. Come on. She loves you.
Yeah.
So,
but she's very rough. Like today,
she's a puppy, by the way.
Yeah. Well, actually earlier when you were downstairs or maybe before you got home, I was laying on the couch on the ottoman and she is fucking running full speed down the hallway and she's heavy. So I'm laying on the couch and I can see it, and I'm just like covering up because I know I'm going to get teeth and claws. And she got all the way from one side of my body onto the couch to the other side and started biting my ear.
No. She does not bite your ear, my love.
Oh, she nibbles.
She licks the shit out of your ear.
She likes my ears for some reason.
I'm like, you don't let me lick your ears like that. What the hell?
Well, it's not that I let her. Like, she just does it, and I kind of push her away.
No, you're like, oh, yeah, that feels so good.
No,
I'm like,
wait.
I'm like, what? I try that, and you're like, okay. Anyways, so this morning, she runs out, and she is stalking. Like,
out
she's
the
not.
Door?
She runs out the door, and she's stalking. She's a very stalky dog, but she's not very tall, right? Would you say that? Like, she's short,
she's not tall.
but stocky, kind of like
solid.
me.
Yeah.
Like, kind of like me. So she jets out the door, and I'm like, Adriana, get the dog. And so she gets her by the collar, but she's like, Mom, I can't move her. And I'm like, Adriana, you need to try, because I'm in heels at this time. And I don't want to walk out in the rocks with my heels and jack them up. But time is of an essence. So is that how you say that? Of the essence? Of the essence. There you go, love.
Yeah.
So I go out there and this dog is not moving. Like I'm talking to her, yelling at her, and she's looking at me and she's heavy. And so she sits her ass down in the rocks and she's like, I'm not moving. And you can see it in her face. And I'm going bananas. The kids are going bananas.
Yeah.
And so Audrey runs in the house to get the leash. And when I stopped trying to force her to come in, that little bitch is like, okay, since you're not trying to force me, okay, I'll work with you. And she got up and she came into the house.
Yeah.
But you know what I started to think? Because I started to think of Fraser and his personality and how dogs are all different.
Our old dog that passed away last year.
Who's very loving. He was very loving, very caring, very...
He was big.
Yes, and he was bigger than her.
Yeah, he was bigger.
But it's like, you know how they talk about how when people pass, like they come back as, you know, like whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, these dogs, like she has a personality way different than Fraser.
Oh, yeah. It's a different dog. Yeah.
It's a different dog. But I'm thinking to myself, like, who were you before?
Oh, Jesus.
You little asshole.
You've been listening to too much Oprah.
She's a little asshole.
Yeah. No, she, like, if you try to make her do something that she, like, she'll turn around and try to snap at you.
She's very firm. She's very firm. And if you don't talk to her nicely, I don't know. I'm sorry. I tried to put her in her place and that wasn't working this morning.
Nah. Okay.
Anyways, I thought that was funny. If you could see what was going on this morning, my neighbors probably heard us yelling. I thought, what the hell was going on?
Who's this lady in the heels running through the rocks?
You should have seen me. I'm sure it looked funny as hell.
Yeah.
You know, this damn dog.
Yeah.
But I got to my appointment on time, so that is good. And I had the best day ever.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been busy. You've been busy the last few days. You've been I haven't even seen you. I haven't talked to you.
Yeah.
This is the first time that we're going to talk since probably like Monday.
It feels so good though. It really does. It feels so good because I was so scared at opening, you know, with Legal Shield, we're spoiled. Everything's there. Yeah. We have the website, we have our CRM, everything was created for us. With Trust Inc.,
you got to do it yourself.
I had to create the brochures. I had to create my business card. We had to create the logo. You know, like there was so much work into it and it was so different than Legal Shield. Like I'm the face of this company.
Yeah.
And I wasn't an expert at the beginning. Like I had to learn how to...
Like the signing business and all that.
Like all the loan documents. And it was very scary for me. Yeah. Because I wanted, you know, to do the best that I can do. And I just wasn't familiar with all of this. And it was scary. My first signing, it took a lot for me to actually go do the signing myself versus farming it out to notary.
Yeah.
You know, and I look back and I think, you know, if I would have allowed fear to get in my way, this business would not be thriving the way it is today.
Yeah. So how did you get the experience? Was it just by saying, screw it, I'm going to do it?
Yes.
Or just being forced to do it?
No. I chose to just do it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I looked up, you know, what it takes and what is needed. And, you know, I educated myself, but you can read all, you know, the books and look up all the YouTube videos, but it's different once you're actually in the signing and doing it yourself and knowing that this closing depends on you and your expertise. Because if these documents are not signed properly, the closing could
Isn't
be
going through.
It's not going through, and it's going to cost the buyer, whoever, the seller, more money.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a lot going on, and the pressure is on. And you know, I don't like pressure. Like, I don't like stress. You know, I like the good stress, but the bad stress drives me absolutely bananas, and it's hard for me to focus. But I had to push myself to do the thing in order. I mean, that I had no choice.
Learn.
Yeah, in order to learn.
There's I don't know if it's a saying or whatever. Like, there's some birds. I can't remember where they're from, but the way they learn how to fly is by jumping off the cliff.
It's the eagles.
And
yeah,
it's some kind of sea eagle or a sea hawk or something like that.
Yeah.
But they jump off the cliff and they learn how to fly on the way down.
That's it. You'll grow your wings on the way down.
Yeah.
You know?
So I had a similar situation when I first started work. There was I try to do my best that I can whenever
you do your best.
Yeah. No, I do my best wherever I can. And at work, I do my best. But when I first started the job that I have now, for those that don't know, I'm an inspector on helicopters. And on helicopters, I've done a lot of sheet metal work, which is very different from mechanical work. And the sheet metal work is pretty much the same on everything. But now I got this new job to be an inspector, which I'm going to be inspecting everything.
Right.
And it's not just sheet metal work. And sheet metal work I got really good at and I got comfortable at. So I didn't have a problem signing off anything when it came to sheet metal because I know what good work looks like and how it's supposed to be, the right way. So when I first started, I would see these jobs that would come up that we would have to go inspect.
Right.
And I was like super hesitant to go and take those jobs. Like, we would get specific training on certain things, but there's other random things that pop up. And the random stuff, I would open up the manuals and I would look at the manuals, but I would never assign the job to myself because I was, I don't know, I guess I had like a fear.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to, because, I mean, you have a lot of pressure with houses closing and that kind of shit, but our pressure is a little bit different.
No, it is. It's
because if we miss something, somebody might die. The helicopter might crash.
Right.
So I wasn't assigning the jobs to myself the way I should have. And my manager, like, we sat down and we talked. It was like a 6-month review, and he's like, "Hey, man, I hired you because you're a sharp guy, and there's things that we expect from you." And he's like, and I explained to him, like, I was like, you know what? I get it.
Right.
And like, I started thinking about it, and the only way that I'm going to get good at this is
to do it
before I even start looking up the job.
Yeah.
Just assign it to myself. And now I have to do this job, and now I have to look it up. And kind of like you have some people in your signing business that you can lean on that have been around, that have done it for a long time, and they can kind of give you advice on, the documents and all that. Like, I did the same thing. We have mechanics that we work with that have been there for over 30 years, that know their stuff. We have other inspectors that really know their stuff. So when there were things that I wasn't too sure about, I would just ask them. And that's one thing that I've read, but I've also, I just kind of picked it up. There's nothing to be ashamed of. We were talking about on the last podcast about humility. And that's one of the things. Like, me being an inspector, people expect you to just know everything, or they think, or at least that's what you think they think of you.
Right. Yes.
And when I first started, I was like, you know what? Most of the people, like, I have a job to do, but most of the people here know more than I do, especially on this helicopter.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is that I do have mechanical experience. So the techniques are all the same. So even though I haven't worked on helicopter in a mechanical capacity, I did work on jets, and it's the same thing. If a bolt is loose, it's loose. Doesn't matter.
Right.
The cotter pins, safety wire, it's all the same. So I know what it's supposed to look like. I may not know what it's called, but I know what it's supposed to look like.
Right.
So, I leaned on the people that knew more than I did. and learn from them.
And that's so funny that you say that, because like when we started Trusting, I'm like, I'm going to do it as a hybrid company, meaning I'm going to be, the signing company to where I'm going to be farming out the work, but I'm also going to do the signings. And because I was such a big chicken shit at the beginning.
Yeah, you didn't want to do the work yourself. I remember that.
I was like totally just farming out the work, because I brought on notaries that had way more experience than me, that knew the industry, that I knew would do a way better job than I did. But
this is your company, though.
Right. But leading the company, being the owner of the company, I felt that I had to take the lead. Like I had to lead by example. So I needed to jump in, because I was just I was tipping my toe and seeing how it felt. And I'm like, you know what? That's not me. So I had to push myself to do the thing. And I can tell you that today I feel so confident with what it is that I'm doing and the people that I'm working with, and it feels so good. And I'm so proud of myself for doing that. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that you are wanting to do something new. You want to try to do something new, but there's such a huge fear. And what that fear is doing is it's holding you back from reaching, whatever it is that you want to reach, whether, it's a goal or whatever it may be. And so live your life with no regrets, like just even if you try it and if you fail or you don't succeed, whatever,
at least put that on a t-shirt.
At least you can say, you know what? I did it. And it just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, even if you give it 100%, you're still going to feel good inside because you know that you did it. You know that you tried. You know that you went for it.
So you're feeling a lot more comfortable about the signing business.
Confident. I still have that high stress, but it's a good stress. Like I just did a reverse mortgage and I'm like, oh my God, I've never done one of these before. What am I going to do? But I accidentally accepted it. But I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to let this title company go. I'm not going to, what's the right word? Like, I'm not going to let them down. So I'm going to go do it.
Yeah.
I just have to.
Well, it's kind of like you committed to the job.
Yeah. So I had to prepare for it.
Yeah.
So I printed out the documents. I looked over the documents. If I didn't understand something, I looked it up. And so I prepared for it. And it went so great. And I met a couple who, who's been married for 50 years. And I was able to sit with them and talk to them and ask them questions. And I had so much fun. But if I would have rejected that signing because of my fear, I would have never got that experience.
Wow.
You're such a jerk off.
Yeah. No, that's good.
All that to say is that, fear, all it is, and you hear this, false evidence appearing real.
Put that on a t-shirt.
We create the fear. We create our own fear.
Yeah. Well, there's a thing, like when you have that uneasy feeling, you're probably doing something right. Like that's what you should be looking for. Like once you start getting comfortable, because I can tell you when I got this new job as an inspector, like I'm a lot more comfortable today. There's still stuff that I don't know, because at helicopter there's so many systems, so much stuff that I can tell you, like I'm not the expert, but I can, when it comes to inspecting stuff, I know what to look at.
Yeah.
But when I first started, it had been a long time. Actually, no. Every once in a while, I try to put myself in positions that I am not comfortable in. Like the first one that I can remember was my tech school when I first joined the Air Force. Like I got out of boot camp, and I mean, everybody has that feeling in boot camp, and it's Air Force boot camp, so it's not as tough. But, everybody is thinking to themselves, like, what the hell did I get myself into? Like, I can't go home tonight. People are yelling at me. I mean, we were watching that Full Metal Jacket. It was not like that. Air Force was not like that. So, but I mean, everybody thinks like, what did I sign up for?
Right.
And then you get through that. It's not a big deal. But when I got to tech school and they handed me my books, like you go from zero aviation experience to here's your stack of books. You're going to have to learn all this stuff. So before I ever went one day to class, I take my books back to my room and I start like looking, like flipping through some pages. And they're talking about the generator, the constant speed drive operates at 50,000 hertz and it does this and it powers this system and these. And I'm like, holy shit. What the fuck am I going to do now? Like then, this, well, now it's the military.
See,
and I can't just leave.
You start praying like...
Yeah, no, I'm thinking to myself, like, that was the first time that I was like, oh, shit. Like, I bit off more than I can chew this time. And I was kind of worried. But then you don't have a choice in the military. So you just go through your tech school. And the truth was, like, I just memorized everything. When you go through tech school, you don't really know anything. Yeah. You know all the book stuff. And then when you get to your first unit, people are like you're like, oh yeah, the thing, it operates at this many hertz, and they're like, just shut the hell up and go get the wrenches. You know, you go because you know what the book says, but you don't know how to actually do anything.
Right. Yes.
So that uneasy feeling, I got that when I took that last Six Sigma class with ASU. When I show up to class, I'm like, why the hell did I sign up for this shit? Like, this is not mechanical. This is like program management type shit. And by the way, I got another class starting in 2 weeks.
I think
for my black belt.
Like, we do have that in common.
But you have to look for that.
Yeah.
Once you start getting comfortable, you got to look for what's the next thing that's going to make you uncomfortable.
Right. Yes. So... And you're going to be bad. You just are. You're going to be bad before you're good. You know?
Like I said, I got that feeling when I got this new job.
Yeah.
You know, because like you were saying, I get this job that comes up, and it's like 4 bolts and an O-ring, and I'm like, I could do that shit. And then like an engine pops up, and I'm like, oh fuck, I'm staying away from that one. Like, there is too much shit going down on that. Like, I am not signing off an engine.
So that's what happened with the reverse mortgage. You know, like, I accidentally hit that I was accepted. And when I saw that they, wanted me to go, I'm like, oh, shit. Yeah. Like, what am I going to do? So I called Bill up, and, Bill Soroka, he has a coaching, and we're going to have him on here as a expert. But he has this Sign and Thrive company, and I'm part of it. Part of his monthly subscription, and that's like a training for it's training for mobile
for people
notaries.
That do what you do.
And so I call him up, and he's like calming me down. He's like, Sonja, you're gonna do great. You're gonna do great. He's like, so he's giving me a little pep talk, and I start looking up a little information on this reverse mortgage, but I don't have that much time because it's about time to go. So I just needed. He was there for me to give me that push. To give me that push and to help me believe in myself, because you hear all the time that these reverse mortgages are like nightmares and they're so confusing. And they say even the loan officers at times don't even know how to explain it. So I'm like, oh Lord, that's when I get into prayer. Like, I need you. I cannot do this without you. So lead me. But it went well. I was excited. I was happy. I felt accomplished afterwards. And I didn't hear back from the signing company or the title company, which meant that I did a good job.
Yeah. So that's the only way that you can learn how to, you just got to jump off the cliff.
Do it. Nike. You just
got to go for it and figure it out as you go. A couple years ago, like I've really only had, one really successful New Year's resolution, which is when that one year I decided that I was going to lose weight and get in shape. So I did that.
Do those.
A lot of people don't. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Some
Like,
work.
why January 1st you're going to start? And it wasn't even really a New Year's resolution because I started like a week into January. But it's just making it's a time where you can just make a decision.
Make a decision. That's the key.
But
making a decision.
There was one year where, well, you were talking about figuring it out. And something that I've always told you is like, well, you were talking about it earlier before we started the podcast, just rolling with it.
Yep.
And one of my New Year's resolutions, which I kind of got to stick to it more, but I said that there was 2 things that I wanted to do, or 2 sayings that I wanted to follow, that I didn't make them up myself, but one of them was, who gives a fuck? Like, for real. Like, there is so much stuff in our life and people that talk about things, and you let things that don't really matter affect you, and you're hearing people talk about this and talk about that, and it's like, who gives a fuck? Like, for real. It doesn't affect me, so why? Why even entertain any of this energy, any of this shit, like just filling up my mind?
Like the negative energy.
Anything.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what? I'm out. I don't give a shit. I don't care. As now, if it's something that really does affect me, then all right, I got to pay attention. I'm in.
Yeah, that's different.
And then the other thing is, well, you're going through it with the signing company. With my work, it happens all the time. And that's rolling with the punches.
Yes.
Like, shit happens, and you just got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Figure out what you're going to do.
And you got to own up. Like today, I made a mistake, when it came to signing. I was working with the company. Don't want to get too much into it, but I was so excited to be a part of this team. And, I made a mistake, and I was feeling so kind of like down, but it's like I took full responsibility. Like, I was like, you know what? This wasn't, this wasn't right. It's like you have to, even when you make a mistake, because we're really good at blaming others. We are so good at blaming others.
That is something that you just can't do.
Right. I mean,
if you want to progress, or
if you're in a leadership position, yes,
you just cannot blame.
You got to own up.
That is a horrible characteristic for a leader, is blaming other people.
Yep. So I owned up to it, and I know that I do really good work. And so, I was working with this other title company, and someone asked me for some information regarding my personal company, and you're not supposed to, those boundaries, there's a fine line. But I love people, me, like I love to talk. Yeah. And so I need to learn to say, oh yeah, if you want me to work with you, just put me on your priority list on so-and-so's, signing in so-and-so's signing agency. But, it's all lessons learned, and I totally owned up to it, and I apologized, and I'm hoping that we still work together. But I it's like, hey, I fucked up, and, it won't happen again. Yeah. But most people aren't willing to do that.
Yeah. I mean, when you're a business owner, when you lead people, if you're a manager, I'm not a manager, but
yet.
Well, it's one of these things that it's a trait. I don't know. I've always ever since I was younger in the military, it just kind of came to me naturally, honestly. Cause I was talking to somebody, and they're like, when did it start for you? And I was like, it started as soon as I had people that I could influence and lead, because I've never really, I don't know, maybe it's my perspective on it. Like, I don't really look at it as being, like, I am being the leader, but we are all working together.
Right.
Like, we're all the same.
Yes. I
just happen to be I don't know, it's kind of weird. Like, I happen to be in charge.
Yeah.
But I don't, you know what, there's this quote that one of the guys at work, CJ, and I told you about it. Mm-hmm. And I took a picture of it. Let me read it. It's from Abraham Lincoln.
Uh-huh. Oh, yes. Okay, yeah. I remember.
And it says, nearly all men can stand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power.
That's true.
And there is so many times, like I remember in training, that you give somebody the smallest ounce of power, and they freaking go ape shit.
Yeah.
And that is one of the reasons why I wanted to move up.
Yeah.
I wanted to move up and I wanted the power so that I could smack the shit out of everybody else.
Shut
and I'm
up.
like, I'm dead serious. Because I was like, let me find out that you're abusing other people.
Oh, gotcha.
And I will fuck you up.
Yeah.
Like, for real.
You know, and I think, honestly, like, reading the Bible, like in the Bible, it says, you know, money is the root of all evil. But see, money, if you have an evil heart, or if you're mean, or if you're greedy, and you get all of a sudden just become very successful, that character is going to triple in size.
All money does is amplify your character.
Exactly.
So if you're a good person, you're a good person with money.
Right.
If you're an asshole, you're an asshole with money.
Yeah. You know, and so again, with that whole saying, give someone millions of dollars and see, you know, who they become.
Yeah. And
you know?
It's, well, even $1 million, that's a little bit different. But when you give anybody any kind of power. One thing is, like, let's say like police officers. There's a lot of great police officers, but they have a lot of power.
Right.
Over stuff. And with the racism thing, like sometimes, like I've heard this before. I'm not sure exactly how I feel about it, but it makes some sense. Like, if you're a white person in America and you get pulled over by the cops and the cop has an attitude and he's being a dick, you're like, this guy's being an asshole. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing to it. It's just like he's an asshole. He's an asshole cop. But if you're a black guy or a Hispanic guy and you get pulled over by the cop and the cop's being an asshole, what are you thinking?
He's being racist.
But maybe he's just an asshole.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like we were in Florida, and at this point, like, you know, when the cops are on the side of the road and you have to move over one lane so that you can, like, if they have their lights on the shoulder, you have to move over one lane from where they are. Like, you have to leave the lane clear. This is a new law that passed a few years ago. So I didn't know this. So, or you either have to move over one lane or you have to slow down like 20 miles under the speed limit, miles an hour. So this dude had somebody pulled over. We just passed right by him. And then all of a sudden, he was in his car pulling us over. Do you remember that shit? In Florida, we were on our way to go see my little brother, his show. And the cop pulls us over.
Oh, yeah. I took a picture.
Maybe you did.
I put it on Facebook.
No, this was a different time.
Oh, was it?
But so the cop pulls us over and he says, "Why didn't you move over?" And I was like, "I'm not sure what you're talking about." Mm-hmm. And he's like, "I was on the shoulder and you're supposed to move over one lane."
I remember.
And I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't know." Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Yeah, it's because there's emergency vehicles on the side of the road and people don't pay attention." Or he didn't say people don't.
Hit.
He said people like you aren't paying attention and hit us. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I was paying attention. What do you mean people like me?
Yeah.
You know, like, if I would have known, I would have moved over. Like, calm the fuck down.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And this is one of those things where he has a little bit of power. He's the cop with the badge and the gun. And he can be an asshole if he wants to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I mean, I would think, like, if I was a cop, I would just see it like my job is, like, literally everybody knows cops are supposed to serve, which is first.
Yeah.
Serve and protect.
Yes.
Not harass and give people shit. And I know there's a lot of great cops out there, but there are some cops that let the power that they have go to their head. Like, I would always see it as, even in a leadership position, to me, it feels like the other way around. Like, I work for them. Does that make sense?
No. Yeah, I get it.
Like, even though technically they all work for me, the way I feel is I work for them. And that's the way it should be.
Yeah. Leading by example. You're out in the trenches. You're doing the work. You're not, the decisions you make is based on the team itself.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
but there's always a bad apple in everything.
No, there is.
You know what I'm saying? And when that happens, like you just don't know what that person is going through. Like if you are cut off while you're driving, you're cut off and that person is angry, or you're in a store and someone's having a attitude, or like you don't know what their day is. You don't know what they're going through.
Okay.
You know, so
what are you even talking about right now?
Well, I'm just saying, like that cop was being a jerk to you, but
who knows
maybe
what he's
he was
going
in the middle
through?
of going through a divorce, and you were
That's
just
his job.
I know.
No, or maybe
know.
he's just an asshole. Some people are just assholes.
No, I get it. There are some assholes out there.
Yeah,
you know,
and it's not just cops. It's with everything. No,
Yeah.
and cops are great. Like there's, we need them.
Yes.
But yeah, there's like you said, there's some bad apples.
I couldn't do their job.
No, their job is
I wouldn't
extremely
want
difficult
to do their job.
Well, for the ones that are out there fighting crime,
yes,
yeah, they got a tough job.
yeah. So anyways,
one of the I don't know what it was, but I was thinking, like, you go out and you'll get your hair done, and this has happened before, where you go out and you get your hair done, get your nails done.
I hardly ever get my nails done.
Every once in a while. But there's been
Once.
there's been a few times where you go out and you get your hair and your nails done, or you get something done, and I get home and I don't notice anything.
Are you really?
Or I may not.
Wait, are you really going there?
What?
What are you bringing up? What the hell did
Nothing.
I not notice?
No, I'm not saying anything about you. Relax. I'm just saying that it happens often,
No,
right?
yeah. I'll go get my hair done, and yeah, it's like,
I mean,
hey, baby,
usually-
you look great. Or I'll be wearing these skimpy little panties, and of course, I sleep in panties, and you're not like eyeballing me or just like, hey,
What are you
babe,
talking? No,
nice
that's
new
different.
panties.
No, that's I'm
Anyway.
talking about like if you get your hair done or your
How's
nails
that
done.
different?
Like I don't
if I
notice.
bought new panties. Anyways, go ahead.
So so like it may go like 2 weeks before, or well, if it's past 2 weeks, I'm not noticing.
You're fired. If
I'm not
you've
noticing.
never taken
and if
that
I say
long.
something, usually it's because you've told me that you're gonna go get your hair done. So then I remember, I'm like, oh shit, she got her hair done, and then I'm like, hey babe, nice hair. So
Yeah.
guys also notice from other guys, like when something changes. Like guys will notice when something changes with another guy, but only for one specific reason. And that's to make fun of them. So like, we went to Costco and we bought some pants or whatever. And my pants for work are getting worn out.
Don't tell.
And babe, I didn't even make it into my job.
What?
Yeah, because I have jeans that I wear to go out, like when we go out to
Yeah.
a bar, or they're
Yeah.
nice jeans. The only thing is that they're a little bit tighter.
Yeah.
They're not baggy at all, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, well, you know what? Like I have a lot of pairs of jeans for going out,
Yeah.
and my jeans for work are getting worn out. So
Yeah.
they had some nice jeans at Costco, so I'll
Yeah.
just buy a pair of those,
Right.
and then I'll wear the ones that I use to go out at work. So I wore those this week.
Yeah.
Day one, I'm on my bike riding into the hangar. I just got through the fucking gate. And one of the guys, because the pants are a little bit shorter, so when I'm on my bike, you can see my ankles. And one of the guys going by, he's like, nice ankles. You should have got tighter pants or some shit. I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, I haven't even gotten, it's not even 5 o'clock yet. It's still like
You're
4:57.
You're making me cry.
I'm like, holy shit.
That's funny.
And then, throughout the day, people are just fucking talking shit,
Yeah.
because that's how it is. But yeah.
Yeah.
So guys do notice when shit changes too. It's like, hey.
Huh.
Yeah. That's funny.
That's difference. And
Yeah.
that, I mean, it was a pair of pants.
It was a pair. The only, and you know what? Especially in the career field that I'm in, working with mechanics, we don't need reasons to make fun of, like, we'll find shit to make fun of people for.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Nice.
wearing tighter pants, they'll definitely notice.
That's
So it was funny.
funny.
But, knowing me, like I've talked about it before on here, like they make fun of
Yeah.
the glasses that I wear or what, like I don't give a shit. And that's
Yeah.
the thing, is that it's kind of like wolves. It seriously is. Because if you let it affect you, guess what happened? They will fucking eat you up.
Okay. So, wow. So this sounds like adult bullying.
It is. It is.
Because what happens at school, like with the kids?
Okay. Yeah.
Let's talk
the
about
same
it.
thing happens. But you know what?
What?
Going through that kind of shit, it makes you tougher.
It makes
Because
you tougher.
It doesn't bother you. It doesn't bother me because first of all, I'm the one that's always giving people shit. And I'm the one that's always making, like, I like cracking jokes. I like making fun of people. I love that stuff.
Yeah.
But in order for me to be able to do that stuff to other people, I can't, let it affect me when they do it to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and then, also if it gets to a certain point, I'll back off because I don't want, I only make fun of the people that I like.
Nice.
I only pick on the people that I like.
It's kind of like back in the day when you used to flirt with the little girls and pick on them kind of deal.
Kind of, yeah.
Anyways, I was listening to Joyce Meyers. I love her podcast. I just started listening to it, and there's a lot of real good stuff. Like, she's so out there. She's in your face. She's not like this softy, like, oh, it's okay. She's like, stop crying and do some shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, she was talking about like bullying. She's like, what is up with all this bullying today? She's like, back in the day, like, we dealt with it. Like, we handled it.
Yeah.
Like if someone was just making fun of you, that wasn't bullying.
That's what we tell the kids.
Yeah.
They're not bullying you.
Right.
They're picking on you. You allow them to bully you.
Right. It's just, it's different. It's taken on a whole new meaning. And she basically said, we're raising sissies.
Yeah.
Well, we're not raising sissies,
soft.
but people are, and that's what she's saying. Like, she's like, when I go out, when people go to her conferences, she's like, I tell it like it is. And she's like, I never thought that I was ever going to be a minister or to preach the word of Jesus. She's like, because I was rebellious. Like, I would do the thing. She's like, I was out there, she said. And, I just was never that soft spoken person. Like, whatever came to my mind, whatever I had to say, whether it was good or bad, it was coming out, she said.
Yeah.
But she started talking about the bullying and how soft society, like our kids, how they're feeling entitled and everything is, oh, this person was bullying me and this and this and that. And it's like just getting so blown out of perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It seems that way, but I don't know if it's like that with every generation because you always hear the older generation saying that the newer generation is soft and they're weak and, it's just not the same. They weren't made the way we were made or whatever. So I don't know if as this generation gets older, I can't imagine. And maybe it is, and maybe it's just part of generations getting older.
Yeah, I don't know. And she was talking about another subject, which I thought was very interesting, and it was about men.
Okay.
And how, like, for men, the suicide rate is way higher than women.
Okay.
And it's because you guys have this stigma of you need to be macho, you need to be brave, you can't show emotions, you can't be hurt, you can't be sad, and that how we raise our children, our little boys, is not to be a sissy. Like you can't share your feelings. Kind of. We don't raise our kids like that. But it's like, if a little boy is going through some things, like Joey came home the other day and he was really hurt. He was really upset and he was crying. Like his face was red. I didn't even talk to you about this.
You tell him to stop being a sissy?
His face, never. He was crying and he was so upset. And I thought somebody hurt his feelings, on the bus ride home or something. I did not expect it to be his sister. But he came up to me and, I was on the phone and I'm like, it was a business call. So I had to get off of that and attend him. But he was so hurt. And I'm like, what's wrong? What's wrong? Why are you sad? And he said, because my sister's sitting in the back of the bus and I have nobody to sit with. But he was so hurt.
Yeah.
And so, I had to talk to him and explain to him because the older kids sit in the back. The younger kids sit in the front. So it's not like she doesn't want to sit with you. Your sister loves you, and it's okay that you're upset and it's okay that you're sad.
She tried to take him back there, didn't she?
Yeah, and it's okay that you're sad. It's okay. I said, but she didn't mean to hurt you.
Yeah.
Because, and it's true. Like there's, when you're upset, it's hard for you to open up right away. Like you guys have this persona that you have to be tough, macho, and that,
It's different personalities. I want to be, if I'm upset, I want to be left alone. I don't want to talk at that moment. I just want to be left alone, and I want to calm down for a second. All talking to me about what's going on is pisses me off more.
You more. Yeah. Which makes me go bananas because I want to talk about it. I want to make you feel better, and there's
all you're doing is making it worse.
Rainbows and flowers. Like, it's really not that serious.
Yeah.
That's me. And I drive him bananas. But I've learned to kind of, not let it affect my happiness and my joy and my excitement. I just like kind of,
Yeah. You put up a wall.
I put up a wall here.
So.
But no, when you see, and I see it today, and I've seen it with people around me when they're raising these little boys who fall and get hurt. Like, get up, stop being a sissy, stop crying, tough it out. Like,
That's bad.
need some of that. You do need some of that, but it's okay to be upset. It's okay to express that you're hurt and you're sad and why you're feeling that way.
Okay. Yeah. I think, yes, in certain situations, but you got to have
they need tough love as well. Yes.
There's a balance, and you cannot be fucking falling apart, crying and laughing, and fucking a paper cut is killing you and you're dying.
Paper cuts hurt.
Suck it up.
Yeah, but no, let's talk about balance. There has to be a balance in everything that you do in life. There really is. Because think about it. Like, like for instance, I'm back on keto and I feel so good. I really do. Like my energy is up. I feel light. I feel really good. And I've been in ketosis already for, I don't know, like a few weeks because I fasted, did the bone broth.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling so good. Like I'm feeling really good. But if I want something, which I haven't had any cravings because they say your cravings go away like in 2 weeks, like for carbs and sugar.
That's bullshit.
I don't know because I haven't been craving it. So whether it's bullshit or not, I'm not feeling it. Like I'm not wanting cake, ice cream. I'm not. I want really
cake, ice cream all the time.
See, maybe
I could be in the middle of keto. I could do keto for 6 months, and I want cake and ice cream now.
Really? So balance. We're talking about balance.
But I don't.
So
need
when you get like that, like if I'm having Aunt Flo around, and I want me some chocolate. If I don't eat just a piece of chocolate, I'm gonna go bananas and I'm gonna want to kill somebody. Like, So in life, there has to be a balance. Like you have to allow yourself to enjoy life.
Yeah.
Even if it's just 2 pieces of a little Hershey's bar.
Yeah.
Like you have to enjoy life, and there has to be a balance. Because if you're not and you're going full force and you're doing the thing and you don't want to do it, guess what's going to happen? You're going to totally go off the rail. Think about that.
Yeah. So speaking about that, there's a new book that I got, an audio book.
Okay. For us?
Well, I got it for me, but you said you want to listen to it.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about it.
And I've heard a lot about it too. And it's called Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. Yes. And he's a Navy SEAL. He's like an ultra marathon runner. He runs like 100-mile marathons.
He was super overweight. You should talk to him about.
He'll do like a 300-mile marathon in 72 hours.
Like, totally insane.
And it's pretty much the story of his life, like how he was raised and how he became this pretty much like a hardened individual, like with everything. Yeah. And part of it, like you're talking about not wanting to do things that you don't feel like doing.
He's like an extremist.
He is. Yeah, he's a different kind of person.
Yeah.
But he said that he seeks, like if he gets a feeling of something that he doesn't want to do, he just does it. And he said that it hardens and calluses his mind to do it. Like there was on Joe Rogan's podcast, there was a guy. It was so funny. There's this guy that sent him an email. Like, he was a owner of a company, like a regular dude. I mean, maybe not regular because he owns a company, whatever. But he sends this guy an email, David Goggins, and he tells him, like, hey, would you be willing to come and live with me for a month? Like, he's going to hire him for a month and, like, you train me on, you know, how you do things or your life or whatever.
Yeah.
And he said that David Goggins' response was, motherfucker, if you're crazy enough to have me go to your house for a month, I'm crazy enough to come. And he showed up. And he said that this dude would wake him up at like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, and he would be laying in bed next to his wife, and he would tap him on the shoulder while his David Goggins would wake him up in his bedroom with his wife and tap him on the shoulder, and he'd be like, wake up, motherfucker. And like, let's go running.
How would you like that?
You know, and then like they were in Chicago
like that.
They were in Chicago, and they would get like a winter weather alert.
Yeah.
Like, stay inside. The wind is too crazy. It's too cold.
Right.
And he would look at him. He's like, get your shit. We're going for a run. And he made them fucking jump in a lake. He's like, because that shit sucks. He's like, so we're doing it.
Yeah.
And like, he was talking about how they actually broke ice from the top of the lake and jumped in it.
Yeah.
You know, so but this book is the story of his life. And man, if you think you've had it bad, you got to get this book.
Yeah.
Because this is another level.
Huh. Yeah, I've heard about it, so I would like to read it. And hey, it's an audio, so it's awesome.
Yeah. It's and the audio book I think is even better because it's kind of like a audio book / podcast.
Huh.
So there's a guy that's reading the book, but he'll read like a segment from that book, or maybe he'll read a chapter. So he'll read for maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But then they have dialogue back and forth about what he just read.
Yeah.
Him and David Goggins do.
Yeah.
So it's really good so far. I've only heard about an hour, a little more. But yeah, it's really good.
So speaking about jumping into a lake, Carlos Ferris from
from
jiu-jitsu, he was talking about these ice baths.
Yeah.
And this company called Optimize. And he was talking to me about like the benefits of jumping in a tub full of ice. And I know that Tony Robbins does it like all the time. Like he has a
tank in his house.
Yeah.
But I think it's in the ground.
Yes. And he jumps into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was thinking maybe you and I, because Coach asked if we would be willing to go with, you know, him and his wife to go check this place out and to go do it. And I'm like, you know what? That'd be really interesting. Like, I would like to do it. I mean, the float tank, if you've never tried, you know, getting into a float tank, that was like such a great experience for me.
Yeah, but that's different.
It is, but that's what I'm saying. It's doing something different.
Yeah.
Jumping into a tub of ice.
Yeah, but doing a float tank it's different. Like, you're not doing something that you don't want to do. Like, who wants to get in a tub of ice water?
Well, there's some people that have what is it called? Where they don't like being in small rooms.
Claustrophobia?
Yeah, claustrophobia. And they go and they do the whole claustrophobia. They do the tank, you know what I'm saying? And they have great experiences, but
there's a lot of people that do that. Adam Carolla in his pool in the wintertime.
Yeah.
He every morning when he wakes up, he jumps in the pool.
Dang.
And it's freezing. Nuts. Yeah, it's cold. And
so I was like, I'm going to do that.
But our pool was green in the winter, so I wasn't going to do it.
Have you looked into it? Like, what the research behind it?
I don't know, but I haven't. I've heard Joe Rogan talk about it on his podcast, because another thing people do is it's the liquid nitrogen chambers. So like, you get into, it's a tank, but it's not filled with water. It's just liquid nitrogen, which is like negative 300 something degrees. And they're pouring the gas from the liquid nitrogen into this tank. So it's freaking freezing.
But how good is that? Because your body is like a sponge.
It's not bad. It's not bad for you, but it's freaking super cold. I'm just saying, it's not bad for you. It's super cold, and you do it for like 2 or 3 minutes, but you got to wear like something on your feet. You got to wear mittens, and you have to have your head out of the tank. Like people have died inside these tanks because they
What the
freeze.
hell?
But no, only if you do it the right way, then. But the effects of being that cold, there's like good things that come from it. There's something about heat and cold.
Right. So what's the difference between doing that and doing what Coach is doing?
Well, I think they have a similar effect, but the nitrogen tank is colder.
It sounds scarier.
It's way cold. I think it's way colder because the tank, like the ice bath, might be, I don't know how many. I don't know if it's like 40 or 30 degrees or something like that. But the tanks or the nitrogen tanks, they're a lot colder. But you can only be in there for a few minutes, like 2 minutes or 3 minutes. But in that book that we have, Own the Day, Own Your Life, with Aubrey Marcus, he talks about that too. Remember that book that we had? He was talking about doing that. So yeah, there's a lot of benefits to that stuff.
Very interesting.
So that
oh wait,
what's up?
So today I got a text from you.
Yeah.
Regarding going to check out a tattoo shop.
Yeah. I was thinking, I was like, let's go check it. I mean, not to go get a tattoo, but at least because the tattoo that I want and the tattoo that you want aren't just like, hey, I want a fucking star.
Yeah.
Just do it. It's something that we put some thought into, and something that has to be done right, and something that I don't know, I kind of want to plan it out if we're going to do it. But just to get an idea of what it's going to cost and how long it's going to take.
Yeah.
So
when I got that text, I looked at this and I looked at it and I'm like, huh. I'm like, I guess that would be good to go check it out,
Yeah, like see how long would an outline take? Like how many sessions is it going to take to do this?
Yeah.
How much is it going to cost? Like how many hours are we going to be? Just
we're all
shit
newbies.
Like that. I mean, I got one tattoo and that shit was when I was 18.
And I have 0.
So
people are like, girl, that's a huge how are you going to go from having 0 to like a full body tattoo? I'm like, you know what? I gave birth to 2 children naturally. Yeah, but they say it's a different kind of pain.
It's a different kind of pain. It's sharp.
And it's like ongoing. Like when you have a contraction, it's a minute that you're dealing with that pain. And this is like ongoing,
Yeah. So I don't know. We can check it out and then we can let you guys know what we're coming up with. Another thing that, with the whole David Goggins thing, I don't know if it was him or I was listening to something else, but they were talking about, I know Jocko talks about this all the time too, about motivation. And you like motivation, like motivational speakers and all this stuff. And that's all great. But the discipline versus motivation. Because motivation is great when you're motivated to do things. And there was one time that I remember specifically, it was in this house when I was running. And there was a fucking storm. Actually, I think there's pictures on Instagram and on Facebook from when I went out for this run. But actually, no, it might be different because I kind of wanted to run in the storm just because it was fucking raining and it was crazy.
Good and accomplished.
But when the weather is beautiful and you're feeling good and you're motivated, it's like it's easy. It's when you don't feel like doing it.
Right.
That's when motivation is gone and discipline kicks in.
But where does motivation come from?
I don't, it's a feeling.
Passion. So.
But that fades.
You have to be, it depends. Like, what are you passionate about? What is the end goal? Like, your end goal was to get in shape, right? To become healthy. And that's something that you were wanting to do, something that you're passionate about doing. I don't know. I feel that in order to do the thing that you want to do, you have to really want to do it. Like, you have to be passionate about it. You have to have an end goal in mind. And it's not just motivation, but it's being inspired, like not just hearing the personal development, the guru who motivates you every day, because that's going to fade out. So when that fades out, what's going to kick in to continue to get you where you want to be?
Discipline.
But you also have to be, if you're doing something that you hate to do, how long is that going to last?
Well, it only if what you're doing is going to lead to where you want to be. Because we have a podcast and we were super motivated, or at least I was super motivated. I mean, I'm still motivated, but it's something that I want to do. So I'm excited to record the podcast.
Right.
But there's days when it's like, maybe I don't exactly feel like recording a podcast at this moment. But guess what?
I haven't seen you like that.
No.
It's been me.
But we have a commitment, and we don't have a commitment to anybody because this thing is free, but I have a commitment with myself that this is what I'm going to do.
This is what you want. Yeah. What you want to do.
So, no, like I said, a podcast a week, and we'll do it for however long, whether it's 3 years or a year or whatever. But it's not the motivation, because if I feel like doing it every time, then great. Then, if everybody was motivated all the time, everybody'd be a freaking millionaire.
Right. But like I said, motivation fades.
Yeah. And it's discipline that kicks in. Discipline is way more important than motivation.
No, totally. But I also feel that you have to have inspiration, which comes from within. There's a difference between inspiration and motivation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to be inspired. You have to.
And that comes
you
from
just
like a
gotta
vision.
Want it. Yeah, you have to have the vision of where you want to be and the drive and the self-discipline. And that's something that I'm actually finally getting in. Yeah. Because every law firm, when I used to work for somebody, they were so lenient with me. There was no, you got to be in at discipline. 8 o'clock. There was none.
There was zero discipline.
I could go shopping during lunch and they would let me come in when I wanted to come in.
I remember talking to you and I'm like, what time do you start work? She's like, I don't know, 8, maybe 10.
9, 10.
I'm like, what the fuck? 8, maybe 10. What the hell does that mean?
And it was
what time do you get out? I don't know, 4. I don't know, 2,
yeah,
maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Like, I never had someone holding me accountable, like, ever. I mean, I would go to school on time, but I'm talking about after that. Once I started becoming, once I became an adult and started, the workforce, like, everybody was they just liked me because I was so likable. No, I don't know what it was. So that's why I always told you, like, if I went to the military, it would have so helped me with my business and everything else, because you learn that self-discipline being in the military and being self-employed. Like, I'm serious. I've been self-employed for 12 years and I think I'm finally getting it. Like, I'm finally understanding, like, the whole business mindset and what you need to do and how,
you gotta
how
be
to go
reprogrammed
about everything. And it took me like so long to figure that out. But it's also too that I'm excited about what it is that we are doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's great.
Like waking up in the morning and the family's good, the kids are good, business is good. And even when it's not good, I know how to process what it is that I'm going through so that I don't stay in that funk where I'm pulling myself out so that I don't get in a state of depression or anxiety or stress. So
maybe we can talk about how you do that.
Yeah.
On the next podcast.
Next week.
So, we're coming to the end of the podcast. We want to thank you guys for listening. Like we mentioned before, this podcast is sponsored by Trust Inc. That's trustinkusa.com.
Yes.
And also, our website is oppositesattractpod.com, and you can subscribe, you can watch the YouTube channel, and make sure you share it with your family and friends and those that you know.
And by the way, we all know you are shopping at Amazon.
Yes.
And so why don't you share that?
So
That's
if you go
cool.
to oppositesattractpod.com and you click on support the show at the top, it'll take you down to our Amazon affiliate link where You can buy all the things that you normally buy on Amazon. It doesn't cost you any more, but we get a few cents from your purchases on Amazon.
It's absolutely free.
And you get to support the show. And it's a free show. So we appreciate it.
Yes.
So thank you guys.
Yep. So with that, we are out.
We're out of here. Have a great week. We'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.